Okay, well, good Thursday morning, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is November 14th, 2024, 7:21 a.m. Trying to get my early steps in this morning, trying to get the video out before I get to work. And you are watching The Takeoff. My name is Alex. And Week 11 of the NFL starts tonight. Great matchup. Probably one of the best matchups on Thursday Night Football. Last week was Cincinnati in Baltimore. Tonight it is Washington at Philly. This is for probably first place, well not probably, but for first place, to see which team will have the upper hand in the NFC East. And thinking about this game, it reminds me a lot of back in 2010. Jets had, I think at that point, was 9 wins. They were playing New England. They were playing them for first place. Went into New England, and New England destroyed them 45-3, I think it was. That was the game where Rex buried the ball back in Florham Park. And then, I think you fast forward 6 or 7 weeks into the future, and they meet in the playoffs, and the Jets beat them in the playoffs. So, to me, that game tonight reminds me of the New England Jet game back in 2010. For a lot of reasons, I don't think people expected the Jets to be where they were at that point. Same way with Washington this year. Philly now has Saquon Barkley. They have been to the big game 6 or 7 years ago. So it all kind of comes together, and I think it's a great matchup. Probably one of the best matchups on Thursday Night Football. So, Week 11. Week 11, before the season started, I'm thinking, 6-4, 7-3, dreaming for 8-2. But here we are at 3-7, and a lot of chirping about the team, of course. Because of the way the season's going, and a lot of news, or a lot of I don't want to call it hearsay, but maybe rumors about what's going on outside of Florham Park. So the first one, let's start with going all the way to the top. So due to Donald Trump being elected president, it's probably a slam dunk that Woody Johnson will become the ambassador to the UK again, which means he will hand off the reins to run the team to his brother, Christopher Johnson, like he did back in 2016. Which, okay. It's also been reported, and I'd be lying if I said I know who reported it. Could be Ian Rappaport. That kind of sticks out. That in the event that they do get a new head coach, Woody Johnson will be part of the hiring of the new head coach. So, take it for what it is. Does he not leave for that job early? I think he has to start after the inauguration. So, the season will be over by that part, but will they be hiring? Will the coaches be available at that point? So, stay tuned on that, because it's not yet slam dunk. I mean, if you give me odds, I'm going to say 90-10 that Jeff Ulbrich is not the coach again next year. Listen, there's a lot of blame to go around. I can't blame him totally. I give him a minimum amount of blame. He is not a head coach. He was promoted into this position, and he's doing what he can. And I mean, that's all there is. He's taking a team that was to be built to win now, who struggled and then lost games they should have won on kicks and on missed tackles. They fired a head coach 5 games in, which I am totally for. To me, I think Saleh would have been gone last year if it wasn't for the injury to Rodgers. And now we're just, I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy how things have changed. How back in August, there was predictions of Lions Jets Super Bowls. Two teams that haven't sniffed a Super Bowl in years. I know the Lions were in the NFC Championship game last year, but prior to that, their history has been somewhat similar to the Jets. But here we are, 3-7. So that's the first tidbit out of Florham Park. The other tidbit is GM Joe Douglas. Is he back next year? Has he been part of any of the decision making since Solomon was fired? We'll never know that. Even if he is gone after this year, just professional-wise, I don't think either party should reveal what happened. You don't air dirty laundry. If you had to ask me, I think there's a 75% chance that he is gone. And the reason why I say that is how quiet he's been most of the season. You don't even see him, fielding questions. It's just amazing how he kind of disappeared after week 5, and that's coincidentally when Salah was let go, when Nathaniel Hackett was demoted. Woody went out and said, Hassan Reddick, come on up the turnpike. We're waiting to talk to you. It's just, just amazing how turn of events. But you know what? Such is the life of a Jet fan and trying to follow the ins and outs of this team. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or maybe Wednesday. I'm sorry, yesterday was Wednesday, so maybe Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers does a weekly on the Pat McAfee show. He answered a question on, will you be here next season? And his answer was, I think so. He said the way he feels now, he thinks so. He had said before he came here, he wanted to give the Jets 2 seasons, and he's not counting the season in which he got hurt. So that is, you count this one, you count last season or next season, and that's where you go. Good morning. So that's what we have for Rodgers. He did say a few things on how the team practices very well, but they're very tight coming out. Almost like, I don't know, he didn't say like he'd have to impress somebody, but it was just, they're not executing what they're doing in practice. And, is that a coaching standpoint? Is that a coaching fault? Is that the players' fault? I mean, they are professionals. So, listen, I always said a few things. How do you tell somebody who's been playing Pee Wee football, JV football, varsity football, college football, you're not tackling correctly? They've been tackling for 12 years before they get to the NFL. Same way you have somebody who was a big, baseball player, a big hitter, gets on base a lot, puts the ball in play, and all of a sudden they need corrections with their stance. They need a batting coach. I never understood that. You have your own technique. Maybe the way you concentrate is a little different, but your physical attributes should be there, and that's it with tackling. So I guess using that would be a great segue to get into Ahmad Sauce Gardner and the week he's had. And the reason why I say Ahmad Sauce Gardner is people, fans on Twitter, even local radio hosts said until he starts stepping up and starts playing, they're not going to call him Sauce. They're going to call him by his first name. Sauce had a rough week, and a lot of it is his. I blame him. Yes, he is a young man. Yes, this is his 3rd season in the NFL. But you take the good with the bad. You take the praise. You take the positive opinions. Humbly, and you take, I think humble is a word, you be humble about it, and you take the negative. Sauce had a big miss in Sunday's game on a 3rd and 9. He gave up 17 yards. That led to a scoring drive. Arizona, I think, scored on their first 5 possessions, with 4 being touchdowns. So it started off where Rich Cimini, who I am not a big fan of Rich Cimini, did like a State of the Jets defense, and he put how they missed 20 tackles and it ties a record for one game and blah, blah, blah. And the biggest miss was, Gardner's 3rd and 9. So Gardner then responded to the tweet and says, yeah, I'm pretty sure that me missing that tackle in the second quarter caused us to have other mistakes in the game. That was a sarcastic remark that he made. Somebody else said something to him, and he replied back, and I think it was the person said they lost 10 grand because of the missed tackle. I forgot that and he came back with like 10K. He wanted to try playing cornerback in the NFL. I mean, it was a shit show. Sauce, listen, we think you have the potential. You showed you had the potential. You got to have thick skin. You got to remember you're in New York. Nobody wants to hear negatives. I know in any job you don't want to hear negative, especially from people outside the organization. But you got to have thick skin. Social media for anybody. And I went through this with politics. I go through this with sports. I go through this with anything. If you don't agree or somebody doesn't agree with you, it's going to be ruthless. You're in the spotlight, okay? These people, yes, a reporter said it about you, and I'm not a Cimini fan. I've said that many times. I wish he would cover another team. He covers this team, gets paid to cover this team and to go to all the games, and always has a sarcastic friggin' article or tweet or blurb, and it just bothers me. And I always, will say, oh, Pulitzer Prize winning journalism there by Rich. But anyway, Sauce needs to take it, either get off social media altogether, don't read it until the off season, or don't answer. You have to do that. You have to step away. So that was that part. To make matters worse, if you remember last year, the receiver, I forgot his name, that the Jets had in training camp, and through Hard Knocks, he was the one who was with the illusionist and came up with the Jets beating San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Well, he wound up catching the winning touchdown in overtime against San Fran last year. So you fast forward to this year, and the Jets trade Mike Williams to Pittsburgh for a 5th round pick. And again, how things are funny in the NFL. Pittsburgh puts in Russell Wilson against the Jets 3-4 weeks back, and now Russell Wilson looks like the Russell Wilson of 8 years ago. So he's lighting it up, and Mike Williams catches the winning touchdown, the go-ahead touchdown, very late in the game from Russell Wilson, and he tweets out the picture and he does hashtags, and one of the hashtags is Red Line. Now, for those of you who don't understand that, early in the season, game against the Vikings and a game against, I want to say, maybe Buffalo. Williams had the pass thrown to him, and it was intercepted. The last pass, I guess it was against Buffalo, because I think it was a night game. They asked Rodgers, and Rodgers said, I expected the wide receiver to be down the red line. So if you ever went to a practice game, they have a red line just maybe 4 or 5 feet off the sidelines. I never knew what it was for, but I guess that's where the wide receiver lines up in practice to practice this position, or to practice this play. And Rodgers expected him to be there. He wasn't there. So that was Mike Williams' little screw you, Aaron Rodgers. I went up the red line and I caught the touchdown. So that kind of came back to haunt us also, or haunt this team also. Fast forward again. Rumors have been a few rumors for a new head coach. First name, and I'm against this, not for any reason other than I don't want a rookie head coach, is Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is a former New York Jets defensive back, kickoff returner. Very, very good. He is now, I believe, the defensive coordinator for the Lions. The Lions or the Texans, I'm not sure. And he's getting a lot of love to be a head coach. Two things. Okay, two. First thing is we don't want a rookie head coach again. We haven't had a head coach that had head coaching ability or experience since Bill Parcells. Okay, you're talking the last time we had a head coach who actually coached a team as a head coach previous was 1999. That's 25 years ago. The second thing is he is a defensive coach. They're looking for, or a lot of people are asking for them to have an offensive-minded coach because they may gel now with Rodgers coming back. Excuse me. So that's the first part. The second part, the other two rumors are, first of all, Rex Ryan has been lobbying to get back with this team. Lobbying. And I'll go back to when Rex was fired. Or even before that. When you see Rex in Hard Knocks, when you see Rex in the post and pregame press conferences during the week, he bled green. He loved this team. His father was a coach on this team when they won the Super Bowl. It was his first head coaching job for Rex. A lot of coverage of this team, and a lot of early success. And then things went off the wire. He then got fired, and within 24 hours was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. And I think he took that, first of all, for ego and for pride, saying, look, this is what I did in New York, and I'm picked up already by the Bills. He didn't have success in the Buffalo either. The only thing he had was, I think he swept the Jets in 2 years when he was the coach of the Bills. So that's the two things with Rex. Do I want him back as a coach? I loved him as a coach. I don't know what he would do now with Rodgers, or if he had to come in and develop a new quarterback. I would accept him as a coach. I think he would bring, first of all, experience. Hopefully he learned from his mistakes. And I think he'd have pride. And, he always has a chip on his shoulder. But possibly maybe even, not on the sidelines, but maybe president of football operations. I'm not saying that position is available or what he can do, but I think that Rex will be part of the Jets in some capacity. When he speaks to them, he speaks of them as we and us. So I don't know if he has spoken to Woody Johnson. From what I can remember, they had a great relationship. Even when he got fired, he kind of walked in and goes, "I know you have to do this, and it is what it is." So I could see that. The other one is John Gruden. Now, my father used to like Gruden. My father liked Cowher and Gruden as coaches, always did. Cowher has said he's not going to come back. He's been out of football. I think it's like over 15 years now. And Gruden, was blackballed, had those issues with emails and whatever it was. Look, I know he won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had a great defense with Sapp and Lynch and whatnot. But he also said that he played the Raiders, and he was the greatest coach the year before. And the Raiders defense or the Raiders offense never changed their play calling names or whatnot. And his defense, the Tampa Bay defense, knew the plays before they happened. So he had a tremendous edge in that Super Bowl. But listen, he got the team to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. So I take nothing away from him. He is a world champion. I don't think he is what the Jets need. I really don't. I don't like what he did, with the Raiders prior. I don't think he's that good of a coach. He is an average coach, maybe a little bit above average. He would be a total positive versus Robert Saleh. Definitely has the advantage. But what could he do with this team? Will he bring them together? Will he make them gel? I don't know. I just think he comes with a lot of baggage. There's a reason why he was blackballed, and he's fighting to get back into the NFL after these years. Steve Spagnuolo, I know he had a rough outing as a head coach after he left the Giants, but he has won championships with the Giants and with Kansas City. But again, another defensive coach. So this is going to play out. Listen, we're in week 11, so we have 6 games left on the season. Actually, 7 games. There's 3 and 7 left on the season. They have their bye coming up. So this is going to be at least a 2-month standstill on where we are with coaches. But it's just been another one of those weeks where a lot of news coming out of Florham Park and on Twitter and whatnot. And then lastly, we have a game to play this Sunday. And then we're playing the Indianapolis Colts. This game was flexed down to 1 o'clock. Joe Flacco was the starter up until yesterday, and then Anthony Richardson now will be the starter. So Anthony Richardson was their starter. In a game earlier in the season, he actually benched himself. And then in the press conference, when asked why he took himself out of the game or why he came out of the game, and he said he was just beat and tired and out of breath. And from that point on, he was benched. His coach put him back in. I think it's a brilliant move by the coach. This is a kid who took himself out. He took a lot of criticism, probably in-house and from the press. But now coach says, listen, you're our guy. Joe Flacco is here just to be a Band-Aid. He's older. He's not going to be playing much longer if he's playing at all. You're going back in. So the Jets will face Anthony Richardson Sunday. Early weather report is going to be low 60s, 15-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to 35. So that could mess with the kicking game, which, the Jets have not had really any luck with the kicking game. But that's what's going on this weekend. Listen, Jets have to win this game if they want to salvage any part of their season. And I'm not saying making the playoffs, or just to get to 4 wins. I mean, you're talking, last year at this point under Zach Wilson they were 4-6. The year before they were 6-4. Now they're 3-7. They're going backwards in the win column. So they need to get to 4-7 and get to their bye. I think there's their bye this week. And see what's going on. The bye is either the weekend after Thanksgiving or the weekend prior. But anyway, we are to take off. Have a great rest of your week. Have a safe week, a blessed week, whatever you want to call it, or however you say it. Be healthy, be safe. Follow us at the Jets Takeoff is our Twitter handle. Subscribe to our video right here on YouTube. The Takeoff is the YouTube account. At the Jets Takeoff is the YouTube channel. And, of course, you can always email us, thejets@gmail.com. Take care.